The light bowgun is a pretty versatile ranged weapon, and, like all ranged weapons, it requires a bit of knowledge of the inner workings of the game to really understand what you're supposed to be doing. Personally, it took me a long time to wrap my head around ranged weapons, because I could never be too sure I was using it properly. Anyone can pick up and use the bowguns, but to really excel, you need to know the weak spots of the monsters, as well as what element they're weak to, so you know where to shoot and what to shoot it with. Then you can pick the right gun and bullet for the job. Being a ranged weapon, you don't need to worry about sharpness. Unlike the bow, you will have to load your shots before and after firing them. Also, unlike bow, there are reload speeds and recoil to consider. Depending on your bowgun and the bullet you're using, your shots can have a faster or slower recovery after firing, and the reload may be quicker or take longer. Fortunately, you don't need to charge your shots like you do with the bow, which makes the bowguns less dependent on stamina usage. Taking shots is a simple matter of pointing and shooting whenever you want to. You won't run out of time because you ran out of stamina, for example. Just like bows, if you want to unload your gun, you can do it instantly, but loading it requires an animation. Unlike bows, you always want your gun to be loaded, otherwise it can't be fired. Light bowgun is a very mobile weapon compared to heavy bowgun, though you'll be trading that mobility for a bit of power. You can still deal quite a bit of damage with this weapon though. Think of this as the sword and shield, and the heavy bowgun as the greatsword. Bow is maybe somewhere in the middle. Light bowguns are, if I understand correctly, the kings of applying status effects. Each shot applies a set amount of status buildup, giving you a guaranteed status proc as long as you count your shots properly and don't miss. This makes them incredibly powerful in multiplayer, being able to lock down the monster whenever you want. Combined with traps, you can spend a big chunk of the hunt where the monster is completely incapable of fighting back. Fortunately for the bowguns, the only thing you need to consider for your damage is what bullet you're using, how far away you are, and where you're hitting the monster. There are no charge levels or coding bonuses. The main complexity with bowguns lies in the recoil and reload system, which I'll touch on briefly later. And of course, since you're using a gunner weapon, you'll be using gunner armor, which has more elemental defense but less physical defense than Blademaster armor. This means you'll be taking more damage in general, so you'll have to be more careful. The light bowgun may not be the best weapon to start the game with. It's easy to get lost in all the numbers and information, but once you get over that initial hurdle, it's not too terribly complicated either. I recommend that you stick with it if you like how it looks or feels to use. That being said, I also encourage you to experiment. If light bowgun really isn't working for you, pick a different weapon. There are 12 weapon classes to choose from, 9 melee and 3 ranged. Try them all. If you want to be a good gunner, you'll need to do a bit of research to find the right gun, the right bullet, the right armor. It's more satisfying that way, to some people at least.